Okay. As we know, this project is about creating a data implementation for the processes that are manually handled by the LSBU Health Club. We, as a developer, created a database created database and procedures that implements these processes. Now we look into the implementation. For that, we used SQL Management Studio. We developed a database in SQL language. To create a database, we execute command create database case study 2. After creating database, we need to create data tables in it. Table is created with create table and table name command following the table name. Then all the attributes with their data types and constraints is enclosed in parentheses following eliminator. At first we create table members. It is used to store information about of members. It has following attributes: member id, full name with character size of 50, DOB date of birth of member with data type date, monthly fee with data type of integer, H address with data which is basically the address of member, and with the size with the character size of 50, contact number with the character size of 50, and the primary key is member ID. All the constraints of this table are not null. Member ID is the primary key. The primary key is defined with the word primary key and attribute name enclosed in a bracket. Member further connected to the member account. This table has stored the information regarding account. For example, which when it was opened, how much the discount is against an account. This table uniquely identifies across the table by account number. It is the primary key of the table. This table joined on the basis of member. Member ID is stored as foreign key in the table to indicate the member presence. This two table has the one-to-many relation, as the member must has an account, but the member can have more than one account, but the account has only one member. Secondly, we will discuss the course table. It has details of the courses, for example, course name, course description, and its price. Courses are uniquely identified by the course IDs, and it is and it is primary key of the table. All the core courses have certain schedule to store all information of it. We created the table schedule. It has all the information such as course ID to indicate which course session it is, then the date, start time, end time, and lastly the instructor ID to indicate which instructor is allocated to teach this session. Session tables content is uniquely identified across the tables through session ID. Course and schedule table has one to many relation, as one course has many sessions, but in one session there is only one course. Instructor table is used to store information about instructor, like instructor name, their course details. Each instructor has allocated the unique instructor ID. The relationship between schedule and instructor is one to many, as one instructor taught in many sessions, but each session has only one instructor in it. As from the business model, instructor also work as personal trainer to store the information about person training session. Personal training service table is created. It has the information like member ID and instructor ID to assign that they belong to this session status and number of services they book. It also stores course ID as assigned course to indicate which training session it requires. It has service ID as uniquely identifying across the table, and it is connected with members, instructors, and courses. Personal training service and instructor has a one-to-one relation. For example, at a time, instructor can do one session and there is only one instructor in his session. Personal training session service and members have has one-to-one relation, as at one time member can have only one session, and in a session there should be only one member. It has the exact relation with the courses. Each schedule has attendance, and its all information is stored in attendance table. Attendance table stores information like member ID to show which member attendance in this, and session ID to store the session, and the attendance flag which must be true if member marked attendance. Attendance table attendance table and member table has one-to-one relation, as one member can mark attendance at one time, and in each attendance there must be only one member. But attendance table and schedule table has one to many relation, as at time there can be many sections marking attendance, but in each transaction of attendance table each health club must have some equipment. Same LSBU also has equipment. To store the information of these equipment, we created a table of equipment and it has information like equipment name, equipment type, and its price. Each equipment has unique ID. Equipment is further connected with the table. Equipment usage, it stores information of how, when, and by whom equipment is used. It has equipment ID, member ID, and usage minutes of each equipment. Equipment usage has one-to-one relation as at a time only equipment is used. Equipment usage and member has one-to-one relation. Each member uses single equipment each time. So now we are coming towards the procedure. To implement the first procedure, we need to filter out the members who made the booking. Then we will create join of member and personal training service table and fetch the details of those members. After we will sort the query by descending order to show maximum booking and and minimum bookings. To implement second procedure, you have to count the member according to the booking status. To implement this, we use the group by and count the members ID. To solve third procedure, I get the instructor IDs from personal training services table, where all booking details is stored and get a table and get a details from instructor table whose IDs are not in personal training services table. To solve the fourth procedure, we write a procedure that check the duplication in booking and tell you which instructor is already booked to avoid conflict. To solve the fifth procedure, we write a procedure and to implement it, we declare separate table because we are fetching data from various location tables. Various locations are tables and tables are some are not related with each other. Then after calculating and collecting the data through insert command, we load it in at the result one and display it. Now we are coming toward a dashboard. On the upper left side of the pie chart demonstrates the members and their discount in percentage. And the right upper corner there is a graph that expresses the no booking made by each employee. Then in right corner downward a graph show the fee of each member in form of pie chart. Then there is a table that shows the booking statuses according to course and member ID. This is all the explanation and of the whole scenario.